Or maybe if you play a saxophone, it's a big instrument, you choose a bigger watch.
I mean like fake those brands, I don't know if you can list.
Yeah. Hello everyone, welcome to the Big Time Tick and Talk Show. I'm Mr. Big Time and today we are very happy to have Bian Tong with us.
Hi everyone. I realized Mr. Big Time is also BT. I also
Yes.
BT. So
Oh yeah, nice.
two Mr. BT over here today. Hi everyone, my name is Bian Tong, 26 years old this year. I work in finance. I like collecting watches as a hobby. And on the side, I also run the Jazz Links, Singapore's largest youth jazz collective. You can check us out at our Instagram.
Can you tell us a little bit about Jazz Links?
Oh, so Jazz Links, we are basically a collection of all of Singapore's youth jazz musicians, enthusiasts. We just come together, play music, and our mission is basically to raise awareness and appreciation for jazz music through youth ingenuity and spirit, and at the same time uplift our communities through the power of music. So two parts to our mission, and basically just us youths trying to have a good time. Yeah.
Youths. That sounds very far from me. So, okay, before we start, as usual, we want to know how did your interest in watches started from, or maybe since when, right? Although you are quite young, I know. So,
Still okay.
yeah.
For me, I guess my interest first started when my mom somehow just mentioned that some watches are automatic, so you never have to change battery. So that was quite interesting to me. Back then I was like 5 years old. And then during NS, I walked past a watch shop that sold like, they had those buy one get one free deal, those kind of watches.
Okay.
Yeah. So I saw like, oh, one of them automatic. So just buy, wear for fun. Then since then I started to like wearing watches. And then I got my first actual real watch in my first year of uni. From Big Time actually. So later we'll get to the watch.
Yeah, so later we'll talk about the watch. But before we go into the next question, let's have a commercial break and have a nice coffee. If you're a coffee lover like me, you should check out this place. Thank you, Chai Seng Huat, for hosting us and this series of the podcast. Okay, now back to the question. You talked about the first watch, right, that you bought from Big Time.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about why Big Time and why this watch?
Yes.
Yeah.
So back then, first year of uni, I think we were just coming out of COVID. So most of us were locked in our dorm rooms, nothing to do. I think the whole world was in lockdown. So everyone was looking at watches. Then I chanced upon Orient as a brand on YouTube. So looking at YouTube videos about watches, trying to find out more. And then I basically just Googled the watch that I wanted. And then I came across the Big Time website. And I saw that, they have a wide variety of different watches. This is not a commercial, but they have something for everyone. So this really caught my eye. This is the Orient Masu. Yes. Limited edition in a very nice burgundy. It's limited to 2,000 pieces. And this ended up being my first watch. I actually got this with another one, the Orient Sun and Moon. That's the very famous one, iconic one. So I got this watch and it has stayed with me ever since. And speaking of first watch, this is my first Swiss watch, the ever famous Tissot PRX in blue. This is the first color that they came out with.
It's very nice because I still remember the day that you walked to Big Time, right? I was like thinking, oh, this young guy, how did he know about the Orient and the brand itself? And at the moment when this watch came in, right, because it was a very popular model, so you were really quite lucky that you came in pretty early to snatch this up, because after that, everywhere it was sold out already. Yeah, so it was like quite an impression, because I remember you as a very young guy coming into our Big Time showroom at that point of time. You mentioned about Jazz Links, your music background and performance, right? Is it related to how you choose watches, or does it have really an influence on the watch hobby?
I think it definitely shows because it shows more of watch collecting shows more of who you are as a person. So I guess as a musician, as someone who dabbles a lot with creative freedom and creative identity, it also shows in the watches I collect. So if you see, if you guys get like a shot of the collection that I brought today, everything is unique in its own way. Something special about each and every watch, which is what I like to present in my music as well. Whatever music I play, be it 笛子, be it for Chingay, for League of Legends, saxophone, flute, I always like to make sure that whatever I play is unique to me and distinct and suitable for the occasion. So that also pretty much sums up my collecting philosophy.
I see. There's something curious from me, right? I'm thinking, you mentioned that you play different kinds of instruments, right? Some people, they will choose what watch they wear when together with the outfit, right? So do you choose what watch you wear when you're playing different instruments?
Yes. So for performances, I would tend to choose my watches to fit. So if it's like a suit and tie event, of course, a dressier option or classier option. If it's, let's say I have a costume to wear, I will pick a watch to go with the costume. So a great thing you mentioned that if you look at what's on your wrist, there is the Fineman Q in red jasper. This goes very well with my Chingay outfit this year. It's red gold, exactly like the watch.
Other than like matching the watch with the outfit, right? I was thinking that, oh, maybe if you play a saxophone, it's a big instrument, you choose a bigger watch. Does it really work that way, or?
Oh, for that, no. Because all of my instruments are sort of, I don't really classify like that. So more of, I'll choose the watch, then I'll choose the outfit. Yeah, something like that.
So the watches doesn't really interfere with your instruments
No,
performance and all that. Okay, that's good to know. I know that you're very young, right? Okay. I'm curious, like collectors of your generation, how do you view this hobby, or what's your perspective of choosing watches? You think, is there anything different as compared to previous generations like us?
I don't know how the previous generation think, but at least for myself, I mean, I also can't speak for everyone around my age group. But for myself, I think youths like to be heard and be seen, or rather have that desire to be heard and be seen and to be recognized for who we are as individuals and what we represent, what we like, what we believe in. So for me, I collect watches that first and foremost speak to me, whether it's the design, it's the function, it's the movement, whether it's something that resonates with me is very important. And I like to choose watches that represent who I am as a person. So for example, this one is red and white, it's like Singapore. I got the red jasper one as well because it's Chinese New Year, very representative of who I am as a Chinese person, and of course for Chingay. So every single watch I have has something that connects to me, whether it's something I like or something I believe in. So that's more of my own collecting ethos. Yeah.
So I can see that every watch is like kind of having a little bit meaningful kind of objective when you choose what watch to buy, right? Yeah, like the first Swiss watch and the main where you can have the colors that match your performance and outfit.
Oh,
right?
yes, like you mentioned, so this is my first watch, right? One of the big reasons why I chose to get it, aside from it looking very special, is also because it's a limited edition. So limited edition is a very dangerous thing to all of our wallets. Since this watch, I started to veer towards more unique pieces, limited edition. That will check one of the additional boxes for me when I think of whether to buy a watch or not.
Okay, so is this one of the push factor, whether is it rare or limited, rather than it's like a mass-produced product, etc. Okay, interesting. Yeah, because I also understand that for us, right, when we're in the watch trade, limited edition are generally very well received also. Partially also mainly because of the FOMO, that means the fear of missing out. So things like, if I don't buy now, it may be gone and then I can't buy it anymore, right? And we do have instances whereby the watches becomes more expensive in the secondary market once it's sold out, right? So this is something actually very common in the watch industry and the watch collecting hobby. It looks like you are also much into independent brands, small independent brands, right? Because I see Pharaoh and myself, the Fireman, and also the Mint, all these are smaller independent brands. So how do you feel about all these smaller independent brands coming up over the past few years, or maybe past 5 to 10 years?
I think micro brands are sort of like an investment, because first and foremost, as a collector, when you buy one, because it's a relatively new brand, so there's always that worry about how the quality will be like, how it wears. And because micro brands are mostly independent, right? I think they all have a lot of freedom to listen to what collectors are saying and really do unique pieces that fits the niche market that's within the collector world. So for example, this Ferrer piece for me was quite a good investment because if you feel the quality of the bracelet and the steel itself is all very well done. If you look at the movement behind also, it's quite intricate. The winding, everything feels much more expensive than it actually is. And this watch is actually number 24 out of I think 100 or 200.
Oh, it's
so this is
yeah.
Eastern Arabic
Eastern
numerals.
Arabic numerals.
Yeah, so I got this limited and I have the Jaslings engraved at the back.
Oh,
Because
nice.
I actually got this watch when the Jaslings crossed 6 figures in revenue. So that's when I started to realize that actually music can make money on. You don't have to rely on government funding and grants. So I got this watch as a reminder to myself that because I'm also a part-time musician, I'm also a young Singaporean, and I'm also, I guess, kind of patriotic. So I want to make sure that as I pursue music as my passion, as my livelihood, I want to make sure we don't take away too much resources from other parts of society, if you get what I'm trying to say. So I believe arts should be self-sustaining and sustainable. Don't just rely on funding. So this is a watch to remind me of that as I further my artistic adventures. Yeah, so back on the question of micro brands, I think it's a very interesting space. A lot of freedom, a lot of exciting stuff. But of course, there's always that question of how well the brand actually produces its watches.
Correct.
Some brands are well known to be very reliable. Ferrer, one of them. Feynman, I think so far have no issues with quality control as well. But some other brands out there, because they are newer and younger and don't have as much resources, maybe they are still finding their way around. But it's good to see all of the micro brands getting better and better each year, especially at Spring Sprung. Not paid to say this. Yeah.
Since you mentioned about micro brands, so micro brands actually is small little independent brands whereby it could be started by a single owner or mainly it's run by a single owner. So it's mainly, we call it micro because it's one person, one man show in that way. So that's why it's a term that is coined as a micro brand. Since you know that these small independent brands, when you buy the watches, right, the investment value is actually maybe a risk, right? So is that really a factor or consideration when you purchase micro brands? Like, because I know there are collectors who are very into investment value. Like they will think about how much I can sell the watch next time if I were to purchase this particular watch. So how do you view this point? Yeah.
Oh, so just now when I mentioned investment, I don't mean like flipping on the secondary market. I mean like putting your money into something new, relatively untested, and seeing how much reward you get out of it. And of course, reward being how much you enjoy wearing it, things like that. So yeah, for micro brands, that's not really a factor for me, because I mean, watch collectors, we go into this thing knowing that most likely not all of your watches will retain its value 100%, but that's okay because you buy what you like and you buy it to wear it. So investment value is not really the primary thought. But for micro brands, I think if it really resonates with you, like for example, if you see a brand that you really like, buying into the brand is also sort of your way of showing your support. So I think compared to buying like an off-the-shelf big brand, buying a micro brand, you feel more like a part of the growth of the brand. You feel more ownership.
So that means you feel a connection between yourself and the brand owner.
Yeah.
In a way that because brand owners for micro brands, they are actually really close to the community. You really get to see the brand owner itself, unlike where mainstream brands you can't really meet the owner, right? So I think that kind of connection is what makes micro brand very interesting, right? And I believe, from what I heard, that is your point about micro brand, right? Where you can be involved in part of maybe even the design process, like they are willing to listen to your feedback. Is there any kind of preference or any pet peeve that you have about watch collecting? Like maybe a certain kind of watch that you will never buy at all, like certain features or certain kind of design principles that really turns you off. Is there anything like this?
I mean, like fake fake replica watches, those that try to mimic others, don't touch those. You're just wasting your money. Save up and buy what you want instead, like the real thing. I personally, I wouldn't touch any of those those brands. I don't know if you can list.
Sensitive topic, right? It's only a very thin line,
Yeah.
right, between what is a fake, what is a copy, what's a replica design, or even what is a homage, right? How about the other way around? Is there anything that you feel that when you see in the watch, you will definitely feel that, oh, I need this, like very strongly, you love this kind of design principles, or maybe you love this material or this kind of dials, things like that?
For now, no. But so far, my biggest Achilles heel is the limited edition. Yeah, I mean, if they say, oh, it's limited to 100 pieces or it's gonna run out soon, then that will definitely be a big push factor. But of course, everything else has to be checked for me. Like, it's a watch that fits my wrist. I don't like watches that are too thick.
Too thick.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
So pet peeve, one of them is if it's too thick. So Speedmaster is a bit too thick for me. So I guess that's a reference point for you guys. But yeah, everything else checks out. If it's limited edition, I will be more tempted to bust out my card. Yeah.
So I'm curious because you talk about being too thick, the quality of the watch. In the current world, right, when we buy things, right, a lot of times we don't really get to see it physically.
Yeah.
When you see something online, it's just photos and stuff. So how do you gauge of think that whether it's something that you should take the risk and buy it, because you actually didn't see the physical watch itself, right? Yeah.
So for me, I've bought watches that I think don't wear, like it looks better online, but after I got it, it doesn't wear as well. So this is one of those watches that I had to try in person before I bought, and I tried it at Sprung, coincidentally.
So that's the Atelier one in titanium, right?
Yes. So this is one of the watches that I saw online. It looks very great. I mean, Atelier one has a very strong marketing team, I would say. But yeah, I held off the decision until I saw it myself, because I sort of expected them to show up at Sprung, because I think they were there the previous year. So yeah, I went on to try the watch, tested it out. It was way better than I expected. Plus, they were having a raffle for the Pendulum prototype.
Pendulum, right. I think this is one of a very good examples of like you really need to try the watch, right? So watch hobby itself is a very kind of emotional kind of purchase, I would say, right? So basically, sometimes it may look very good in photos, but when you buy the watch, like even for myself, there's a few times where I made the impulse purchase and I saw a very nice photo online. And then when the actual thing comes to the house, when you open the parcel, it is actually not what you expect. So being able to really test and try it out on the watches, I feel that is very important. In the watch industry, I still feel that having retail is very important because like what we mentioned, right, it's a touch and feel thing. It's a feeling, it's an emotion. So not everything can be bought just by looking at the photos because the expectation and the final output may be different. Yeah, so which is why I really hope that we can continue to have this kind of events and retails to be around. Unfortunately, the retail is struggling from what I see, but I really hope that everyone can support retail shops. So if you don't support the retail shops, like in the old advertisement, there's one day there's no more retail shop. You can only buy using photos online, right? I'm not sure how many years have you started collecting?
2021. So I think this is the
fifth or
year?
6 years. Yeah, fifth or sixth year. Yeah. So during this period, is there anything or any lessons you feel that you have learned throughout this journey that you want to share with everyone?
I think the biggest lesson I learned is patience. Don't jump at you see something you like, don't just jump at it. Wait a while, see if you can try it on, see if it fits you. It might look good on others, but it might not look good on you. If it's meant for you, if it's meant to be yours, even if you wait, it will still be yours. That's one of the lessons I learned. So I actually saw this Omega when I was in New York. And I was at 47th Street, Diamond District,
Nice.
Infamous place for high prices. So I saw this watch, very nice, in full bracelet, beads of rice. I almost bought it, but then I told myself, okay, wait, maybe Singapore have also. That was my last day in New York, so my mobile data ran out, so I didn't have data. So I told myself, okay, hold off first, don't buy, maybe Singapore have. The moment I reached the MRT station got, or the subway, they have free Wi-Fi. I go on free Wi-Fi, open Carousel, I see a lot more cheaper than the 47th Street one. Then that's when I knew, okay, good move, waiting for. Yeah, so if it's meant to be yours, it will be yours. Have patience, especially for younger people in general. We are more brash, impulsive. Yes. So yeah, patience is my.
But I think
lesson.
generally it's not just the young people, right? So sometimes people like me, we are also quite impulsive. So I think it's just generally a kind of habit that I think you brought up a very good point about patience, right? So being patient in waiting for the right piece. So even like for this Omega, right, there could be a lot of variants, right? You may see something that you like and then there's an impulse to buy it. But at the end of the day, you may step back and think a little bit, and then maybe you'll find another piece in a better condition, better price, like what Bian Tong did, right? He got it at a better price. Yeah, and it's local, right? It's from Singapore, so
safer.
There's less risk. If there's any issues, you can still go back to the seller. And, So I think the patience is one very good point, which I appreciate you for sharing this. Yeah, because this is something that is on me also, right? Because I'm also quite an impulsive buyer at some point of time. Yeah. So down to the last question. Out of your entire collection, can you tell us maybe what are your 3 favorite pieces that you have?
3 favorite. So as I take out my 3 favorite, just now we talk about patience, right? But sometimes it's also good to be decisive because this watch is one where patience helped, but this one I almost didn't get because of patience. So I was like, okay, maybe I wait, see if I can get it after, because it was a limited run by Pride and Pinion and Man lah. I don't know how they pronounce it. But yeah, so I actually missed the opportunity to get it. But thankfully, Nico, the watch guy, I just DM him on Instagram. He very solid. He somehow made it happen lah. So here you see it first hand over there. Yeah. So sometimes it's good to be decisive, but of course spend responsibly. This is just a hobby, expensive toys. Don't
overstretch.
Yeah, don't overstretch yourself. These 3 would be my top 3.
So can you tell us a little bit more why these 3 watches?
This one was because I'm a huge fan of Nico and like basically his whole persona of being very straightforward and direct. And red is one of my favorite colors. And like I said, this one represents Singapore's colors as well. So for me, it's like a Singaporean thing lah. This watch, I actually almost gave it to my younger brother. This was supposed to be a congratulations on getting into law school gift. So I got this watch for him. But the moment I tried on the watch, I was like, this is too nice a present for just getting into law school.
I hope your brother is not watching this episode of the podcast.
So I gave him a Fireman Q turquoise instead.
That's a good one.
So that's a more fitting watch. So this one I'm gonna keep it, and maybe next time if he do something better, then I'll give it to him lah. Or maybe if I get like a better watch, then I don't want anymore. Then this one is I like it a lot because of how good it sounds. I think it's representative of myself as a musician, like cause how good something sounds is very important. So when I first saw the watch, I was like, okay, this looks cool. Still on the fence about whether to get it or not, but when I first heard the alarm function, how bright the ringing was, I was like, okay, go.
The one JLC that Bian Tong is talking about, this is actually a alarm watch. So there's actually an alarm that is inbuilt in the watch, and it will chime the moment the time is set and the alarm is set, right? So it's pretty amazing that, you know, in our ages, right, our alarm clock means like handphone, right? Our phone. But in the olden days, they do develop chiming watches like this that has an inbuilt alarm, and all these are mechanical watches. There is actually no electronics, there's no battery. So it's actually a hidden kind of a gong that hits, right, and vibrates.
So if you remember last time, if your parents bake, they have an alarm clock. It's a similar thing.
So it's how amazing, right? There's no electronics, there's no battery, there's nothing, but it works exactly like an alarm clock. Yeah, so I think for those who are interested to know more about this alarm watch, actually you can DM us or put in the comments, and then we will try to give you some more information about alarm watches. Because it's not just JLC, there's actually a lot of other brands that does this alarm watches, and it was pretty popular at some point in time. In fact, I have one of the alarm watches, but it's not from JLC, it's from another brand also. Yeah, but it's quite interesting because I sometimes I do play with the alarm, yeah, just for fun. I mean, we don't really use it as a real alarm, but it's a good to have and it's quite a fun watch. So with that, we kind of wrap up the podcast for today. Thank you so much, Pian Tong, for accepting the invite, and also once again, thank you, Chen Xing Hua, for giving us hosting us this place. Yeah, so we'll see you at the next episode of Take and Talk Show. Bye.